Kherson is one of the symbols of national resistance to Russian invaders. From the first days of the full-scale invasion of Russia, the residents united in the fight against the Russian occupiers and in support of each other. During the occupation of the city, the life of Kherson residents changed dramatically.
From the first days when it all started, we were coming to our senses for about a week. We could not understand anything. Then my friends from abroad, from other cities of Ukraine, started calling me and asking how they could help us. I didn't know what to answer. We turned to the closest relatives and we were told that the Kherson hospital needed help. They were the first weeks of the war. There were battles for the Antoniivka road bridge. We had a lot of wounded, especially in the Kherson city clinical hospital.
So Natalia and her husband became volunteers. Doctors gave them a list of necessary medicines at least once a week. Friends sent money to the card, and pharmacists sold everything according to the list. They helped the blood transfusion center in the same way.
If you could see how many people went to the hospital at that time and how much they carried in total, food, medicines, dressings, you cannot imagine. Then for the first time I realized how much I love my city and how much I love the people of Kherson.
Kherson residents supported each other in everything. According to Natalia, first of all, this raised their spirits that the Russian occupiers were trying to break from the very first day of the occupation.
Just imagine, I have not talked to a person for about a year, and then he calls me and asks, "Do you want bread?" But there was no bread, so it was very difficult to get it. I said that I needed it. He answered, "Open the door, I'll be right there." And he just brought me bread. I can give a lot of such examples, and they all helped us come to our senses, helped us to adapt to what was happening, although it is impossible to adapt.
Natalia got a call from her friend and colleague Igor. He also completely immersed himself in volunteer work. They decided to work together, so a team of like-minded people gathered. We had no resources, no opportunities, no acquaintances. We decided to start with a program for the exchange of children's things. Such a slogan was, "If you have it, share it. If you need it, take it." Exchange of clothes, toys, everything related to children. Then there were requests if we had baby food, diapers, or to give them baby powder, medicines. And we started getting everything else. Igor Tsurkan is Doctor of Philology. He teaches at one of the universities in the city. He also owns a travel company. On its basis, it was decided to open a charity office. In the first months, we just knocked and asked, "Please help us." People responded, and some partners are with us to this day, for which we are very grateful to them. Some had doubts, saying that we stayed here in Kherson, which meant that we allegedly already sold out to Russians. Sometimes it was necessary to convince them that there were people in Kherson who were waiting for the armed forces and lived in Ukraine. The needs of the residents during the blockade only grew. The headquarters helped not only with children's things, but also with medicines, food and hygiene products. The emphasis was on large families and pensioners. Humanitarian kits were also delivered to the Russian-occupied villages, where the invaders gave permission to enter. We had a search here in the office. There was a search at my house. They seized office equipment and cars. They mocked us a little. This also happened. But I do not want to talk about it. It's personal. Everyone is alive and kicking. It was clear that we were shut down. But the fact is that then the question arose of how we could work further in this situation.
There was constant intimidation that they would arrest me. Everyone warned me, called me with the request not to work, not to write poetry, not to publish poetry in Ukrainian. They were frightening me constantly. There was a search, but we have lived through all this. Let's talk about happiness. I think the time will come and I will say that this year has been a happy one for me, because I did what I wanted to do. I was among the people I should have been among. I felt useful.
After the liberation of Kherson from the Russian invaders, the volunteers do not stop their activities. The amount of work only doubled. We are working for now, because it is clear that the tourism business is completely stuck. I'm engaged in teaching activities online. It is still going on. It is clear that we continue to help. We have repeatedly discussed with Natalia the stop of volunteering. We are all exhausted too, but as long as we have the opportunity and resources, we will hold on. Several hundred humanitarian kits are distributed to local residents every day, to those who collect them on their own. 8 packages from the regional administration have been added. At the same time, the authorities are calling on residents to temporarily leave Kherson. Russian troops do not stop conducting chaotic shelling of the liberated city. Reported by Pavlo Shtelmach, Daria Litovchenko, Denis Sinchenko, UATV News.